Today's episode is brought to you by HID Mobile Access, the most secure and convenient way to open doors with the device you already use every day. With HID, organizations get flexible, future-ready solutions that easily integrate into workplace and tenant experience apps, creating a seamless journey from street to suite. If you're ready to modernize your access control experience, try it for yourself. Sign up for a free trial at hidglobal.com/solutions and click on Mobile Access.
On this episode of Founders, I'm joined by Josef Šachta, CEO and founder of Sharry. Sharry is the company behind mobile wallet access in some of the world's most iconic office towers. Josef shares his early work connecting people through digital communities that led him to reimagine the workplace experience from street to suite. We talk about integration, transparency, and what it really takes to make the workplace personal. So, as promised, we are joined by Josef and Sarah from Sharry, my illustrious counterpart here, Troy Johnston, joining us as well to help lead the conversation about your founder's journey. So as I was doing research for this interview, I wanted to take what I've learned about Sharry and distill it down into one paragraph and kind of get your take on it. So I'm just going to read this to you, and I want you to respond and is this correct more or less, or is it missing anything?
Okay.
So what I've come to you with is Sharry is a Prague-based workplace experience and access platform developed or deployed in Class A office buildings worldwide. Sharry provides mobile access, employee badges in Apple and Google Wallet, visitor management, parking integrations, and tenant engagement tools. They are known for their street-to-seat concept, aiming to unify the entire building journey. Did I get that right? Is it missing anything?
Maybe one small thing is that because originally we were really focused on the buildings, and I would say this is very proper definition for buildings, but now we work more and more also for enterprise clients, for a large companies. So I prefer now to use a workplace instead of building, because I want everyone to understand that we actually work also for big companies, not only for landlords.
Sure. So it's tenant experience and workplace experience.
Yeah, but otherwise it was perfect.
Excellent. So let's start with the beginning. So as I started doing some research on this guy, I found a couple of interesting things. Number one, you have a background in law and journalism.
That's true.
And then you also started a company called CityBee.
Correct.
So I want to know all about the journey. How do you go from law, journalism, starting up a different company into this crazy access control business?
We just yesterday had a discussion that actually everyone says hey, I don't know how I actually get in the security industry. It was a big pivot in my life.
It is to a person. All of the folks that we've interviewed thus far today, myself included, and I'm sure you would agree with this. We all got into this accidentally, right? You kind of tripped, and it's oops, I guess I'm in the security industry now.
Exactly. So my story was that when I was 15 years old, I actually made a decision, very strong decision, that my dream is to publish magazines. I was always trying to write something. I was working for school magazines all the time. I founded few school magazines by myself. So it was this was always my word, and I wanted to publish magazines. And I really loved that smell of printing, and I really want to be in this industry. But then I finished the university, and as you know, it was in 2010, and it was basically really the time when print was doing really, really bad, when all marketing budget started to go to Google and Facebook and all the online platforms, and it wasn't really good times to start this kind of business, which was my dream. And actually that's why I studied journalism and law, because I thought it's actually a great combination for doing business.
Sure.
And I'm actually also from a law family, I would say, or both my parents are lawyers. So I thought it's a good idea to study these two schools and then to start the business to publish magazines. That was my dream. But as I said, when I was finally ready for that, it definitely wasn't a good time, business wise. So I decided to do a small change of my plans and to publish something online, which was CityBee. So I decided that, and it was supposed to be just one of my projects in this area. So I founded CityBee actually with my best friend, Michal, who is now also my co-founder in Sharry with 2 other guys and friends we have. But Michal is really my very close personal friend. We know each other like since I was like 1 year old. And so we started CityBee as the first project, and it was about like what's happening in Prague, what's events and like interesting places to go in Prague.
So that would be almost like a similar version of like TripAdvisor here?
I would say maybe a rather Timeout.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Timeout was our real like inspiration. Like
Sure.
Timeout was very, very similar. But there was already one connection, I would say, to what we are doing today. And that's that we, from the start, we wanted to generate a QR code to each event. So everyone, like the organizers of those events can use that QR code and lead people to our website where they could buy tickets and like find all important information.
Sure.
Because at that time, actually, most of these companies or organizers, they didn't have a mobile version of their websites. So we were providing all of these. So it was like, so QR codes was actually a big thing for me at that time. And so I learned a lot about that technology.
Maybe just to give the audience some context, like what year was this? Like when did you found CityBee and what was what period of time?
It was we founded that company in 2011. Yeah, 2011. So 1 year after I finished my university. And actually CityBee it still exists. It's still running. We still own it. So it's not a big business, but it's my child, so we are still like, it's still running.
And does it only operate in Prague?
Yes, it's only in Prague. Yeah, it's only in Prague.
It's one of those things if you know, you know. You got to be from Prague to know what CityBee is.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, yeah. If anyone from you is from Prague, I hope you know that.
So then how do you go from CityBee to Sharry? Yeah. Because these are 2 completely different things.
Yeah. And that's actually a funny thing because really CityBee brought us to this business and to Sharry because so we are doing CityBee, and I have to say that first important moment was that we moved to the office where we shared that office with a very small software company called Litio at the time, and the founders were Vláďa and Jacob, who are our founders now. So we started to be friends. We were like together in that office, and we actually started to do some small projects together. And then some happened, the story which is I think quite cool, that Skanska, which is a big construction company and developer, like I would say global, they came to us with the vision that they would like to have an app for their building. And it was really the time when no one had these apps. Like it just started. It was like 2015, and they came like, okay, we would like to have the app for the building. And they didn't come like that we should create that app. They came because they wanted to have events that's happening around the building. So they came to us as CityBee, and they asked us if we can be vendor of those events for them, like if we can like provide them the like list of events. And then I would say something strange happened because we had a meeting like that. We are sitting like that, and they ask us, "Hey, can you provide us these events like that are happening in this district around the building that we will build?" And I was like, "We will do the app." And Michal was just sitting next to me, and he was looking at me, and I was like, "We will do it all. Like I want to do it all." And because I really fell in love with that idea, I fell in love with the idea that like the app for the building, because it was quite similar, right? It was like also like about one place, but much smaller place than the city. And I really got so excited for that. So I said like, we want to do that. And they said, no, it's not possible. We have already vendor, which was a very well known company developing apps in Prague. And they said that it's going to be there. Like we already made a decision, but you can provide us the events. And I said, no, we really want to do that. We are better and cheaper, and it's going to be awesome. And they said no. And then so okay, and we left. And Michal was like, are you crazy? Like who's gonna do that app? And like I said, like Vláďa and Jacob will, because they were already our friends from the same office. But it's like it was like impossible at that moment. And then like 3 weeks later, call, and Skanska was calling us that actually that vendor that was supposed to do that job decided to stop their activities in Europe and to be focused only on the United States, and if we are still interested. And we said yes, but they organized tender. We were like 3 companies there, and we won that tender, and then it was pretty fast.
Wow.
Sorry, longer story. Sorry.
No, that's exactly what we want to get into. And I find it fascinating that many of the founders that we've interviewed thus far, a lot of it is what you would say is like kismet. Like you were in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. And, you know, to the kids watching at home, there's a value to being in an office. There's a value to being, what do they say? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? Oh, I got lucky. Well, I was lucky in that I worked in a building with these other really smart people, and you start, you have a beer and you have a conversation, then all of a sudden an idea germinates into something else, and then before you know it, you're here in New York City talking to the mobile evangelist at HID.
Exactly.
The strange paths.
You can be really successful.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm curious, and normally I would get to this question later, but I don't want it to leave my head. What advice would you give to kids today, like kids that are going into college? Because I think you in particular were impacted by a shifting market, right? Oh, I really want to write. I really, I have a passion for it. I go to school for journalism, and then the whole world changes. And we're kind of seeing that happen right now.
A lot of uncertainty in the market right now.
Like what advice would you give to even your kids as they come up and like following their passions to make a living?
Yeah, I would say it's not very original, but I would say follow your passion, because of course now everyone is discussing like that AI will change everything, right? But I really think that like at least in Europe and here in the States, like that these parts of the world are lucky enough that like really I feel that really everyone can do what they really like to do. I don't understand very like that when some people are saying that they hate their jobs and that they hate going there every day. I think it's really most important to find what you are really excited about, and to start with that. So I think nothing original, but I think this is super important. And I have a lot of discussions with our software team, like with our developers, of course, like what about this job, like with AI coming? But I think it's as again, it's everyone says that, but I think AI is a tool, so it's important to be able to use that tool, but it doesn't mean that you can't do the job anymore.
Right. Yeah. And I will also say, as the old man yelling at the clouds, you know what I miss? Magazines. There was something so special, and I will date myself. Nintendo Power and Electronic Gaming Monthly and those types of magazines would come in the mail, and it would be like something that you looked forward to. And you knew you were only going to get one, and you would scour this thing and read it front and back for the next 30 days until the next issue came out. And I don't know, I feel like there's something cheap about just being able to get the information as soon as
digital
possible.
Side. Yeah, I agree. It's the childhood memories of flicking through like motorbike magazines for me. Right. The smell of it when you unwrapped it. Yes. The whole experience. Exactly. And just recently, I went and bought a bunch of books. I could access them online, but I'm retaining the knowledge more by going old school. Like it's a strange thing.
Yeah.
No, like first we shouldn't talk about it because I will start to cry. But second thing is that I think that it's actually awesome when you have like curated level of information, right? Like that it's not good for brain, like when you are just getting all the information all the time, like in the stream. But what magazines brought was that and of course it depends if the magazine was good, but like they brought you like what's important, right? Right. What's important.
It curated the concepts, because now it's like you can get everything, and when you have everything, you really have nothing, right? There's nobody sitting there, and a good editor would say, this is what I want the message to be when somebody reads this magazine. And now it's just you go to a website and you consume, and even worse still, and again, old man yelling at the clouds, with these social media platforms, you just scroll from topic to topic to topic to topic, and before you know it, you blasted through 2 hours of your life and you can't remember anything.
But not learned anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
So going back to Sharry, get off my high horse for a second. So Sarah, what is it that Sharry actually does? Like I have this whole mission statement here about connecting Class A office space and tenant experience and blah, blah, blah. But what is the vision of the company, and like what problems are you guys solving?
I think that's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I talk about Sharry, I always think about and talk to our clients about a workplace solution and a well-rounded workplace solution, right? So it's not just about mobile access. It's not just about bookings, reservations, and amenities. It's a software and a solution that goes beyond just access. It goes and solves, visitors. It solves bookings. It solves other things that are just not, just part of what, we do with HID, which is the mobile credentials.
I'm sorry, I'm making a face because a thought just exploded in my head and I got goosebumps. So you'll probably think I'm weird for this, but you know what you're doing? You're curating an experience for the workplace, like a magazine.
Yeah.
The Sharry is the magazine of the 21st century.
Thank you for seeing that.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if that was intentional, but the thought occurred to me because when you go into an office space to work, yes, you're there to do your job, obviously, but why does it only have to be about that? And what other sort of experience can you create for that person as they go through your space? And ultimately, that's how you differentiate and add value to your building.
Maybe let me follow on that because I always like to say that the most important and the best decision I did in the past was always like not to do something. Like it was always like really, and I think like all the no's were the right decision we did, and one of them was that as I said that story about like building for the app, like in the building for the app you can have everything, right? And that's how we started. Like we are doing everything what our clients wanted, but then we realized that it's impossible to deliver everything on the good level, and that actually not everything also like brings really the value. So and at that time we made a decision, okay, let's build it on the smart access. That's gonna be the most important. And then and now we are really very carefully thinking about what should be added to that. And if there is something that we don't think that should be added, we are still open that people can like integrate it like by themselves through our API. But we are really very careful. So yeah, I would say that curating of that, it's important part of our business.
What's the process around that? Like you guys often get asked for features and requests and stuff, and I'm sure that's never ending. So how do you cut the fat, right? Like how do you manage that?
You know what? I think like that it really changed now in the past. Like it was very difficult before COVID. Like before COVID, really like all and actually this was also very special for landlords. Like all landlords were like, hey, I want this, because they wanted to have like the new things to their presentations when they will be trying to attract tenants. So they were like, I want as many checkboxes as possible, and like and I want something new, something that other buildings don't have yet. Like give me more. And it made me really crazy. So after the COVID, that was actually one of the main reasons why we decided, okay, let's focus on the companies, on the enterprises, because in the end they are the end users even in the buildings, right?
Right.
And it helped us a lot because otherwise it was super difficult actually to say no. And we lost many tenders just because we said we are not doing that. And we were beaten by the companies that said we are doing that even if they weren't, right? They just said we will do that.
They win it and then they build it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think that the definition changes based on which client we're talking to. So, we're a big platform. We do a lot of different things, but to make sure that we simplify it for our clients, we want to have those consultative discussions as opposed to a sales pitch. So we're not pushing, an entire platform with all different features that a client doesn't need. But, we listen to their problems and we say, okay, this is a part of the platform that will really help with the problems that you're trying to solve for. And then, in the future, if you can get benefits from other parts of the platform, we can discuss that and, we can present those to you. But I almost think of our sales team as consultant team, right?
Sure.
Which I think is a slightly different approach to, to some of the other companies and not just in our space, but in general, right? We are, that's why the sales cycle, I think for us is so long because we really go in depth and we really look into, okay, you have multiple locations. If you're a big enterprise, what are the things that you're trying to solve for on a small scale and on a big scale? Right?
Sure.
So
yeah, and I find too, maybe this is a little too inside HID baseball, but I will say like a mobile wallet deployment tends to take much longer than an in-app credential deployment, which tends to take much longer than just buying a box of cards at your distributor.
Absolutely.
So I can only imagine from your perspective when you're not just selling a widget, you're selling an outcome that more stakeholders would have to be involved, and the sales cycle would be longer. So where I'm going with this is, who are you talking to? Who's the primary stakeholder? Is it the security folks? Is it IT? Is it facilities? Is it tenant engagement? Like, who's involved in making this decision? Or is it all the above?
I think that's a good question. It really depends on which client, obviously, and how those discussions start. And sometimes, and I would say most of the time, they start from someone in the security space. But it's nice when we get into, meeting number 2, number 3, and they're starting to invite, workplace people and HR people, and, maybe they have an ESG team that's interested in mobile deployments and what that looks like. So it really just depends on the client, but I would say all of the above. And that's kind of the struggle that not just us, but I think other, tech partners of HIDs face, is you have to get a sign off at all different levels and at all different, departments, which isn't always, the quickest process.
Yeah, no, it just lengthens the sales cycle.
Exactly.
And actually that leads to another question I have about the channel, right? Specifically, who ultimately is putting it in, right? So typically it's the systems integrator. How does the systems integrator work inside of the Sharry ecosystem?
Yeah. For us, integrators are super important, because I would say, maybe to make it a little simpler, I would say that we always work in 2 steps. First step is that we want to deliver smart access platform. It's always the first step, because we think that actually and that's what Sharry is quite about, that we believe that access control system is the most powerful software that everyone has. And we don't think about it like access control system, but the list of all people that are connected to that specific place. And how you can use that list actually exists. It already exists. It's something super trustworthy, and you can use it for many things, right? That list. So we always start that we integrate with that list and try to get the most of it, and to provide the best credentials, which I believe that right now the best credentials in the market are wallet-based credentials. But we are not limited only to them. And then in the second phase, we start these other things. And with the first step, which is, as I said, super important, it's always need to be involved security managers, of course. It doesn't matter who brought us in, but the physical security managers is always involved. And I also like the security integrator to be always involved. And the reason is that basically the outcome of all of these, it's always combination of access control system, credential provider, HID, and Sharry. And I think that the client deserves to have one point of contact for all of them. And that's what integrators bring to us. So, and I think that clients really love it. The thing is, if integrators are ready for that, and I try to talk to them and all the time and convince them that this is huge opportunity in the market for them that they have. And and I truly believe that they should be the one that covers this for the client.
So that's actually a really good segue into one of the questions that I had written down. See, I told you we'd get to some of these questions. What sort of advice would you give, or what skills or mindsets should the systems integrator be developing now in order to have success in selling a platform like Sharry, or at least being part of it?
Yeah,
I would say definitely curiosity. Just making sure that they have these active discussions and questions with vendors such as Sharry, but obviously, others as well in HID. But I do think that, curiosity is so powerful and so important, because we're in an age where Gen Z is coming into the workplace, and they don't want antiquated systems and antiquated ways of getting into the office, and not having any sort of help with navigating the spaces that they're supposed to be going into, right? And so I think that, if you want to differentiate yourself as a systems integrator, you need to be curious, and you need to be able to answer these hard questions that your clients are ultimately going to have if they're not having them right now.
Right.
We talked about mobile, I think, about 2 years ago when I joined Sharry, as an quote unquote innovation, but it's a reality now. It's not something that's an innovation anymore, and I'm speaking from the perspective of being a Gen Z-er myself, and I came out of college, using a mobile credential. I pay with, my phone. And so I don't want to be going into an antiquated workplace where I'm, need to be using a plastic card. But again, I think, the mobile access piece is just one part of it.
Yeah, we were chatting with Thru from Cohesion earlier, and she talked about this shift in the word hospitality, that there's this misconception that hospitality means just throwing more people at it. And her hypothesis, and I think she's correct, is that for Gen Z and for the younger generation of workers out there, hospitality means more technology. It means not having to interact with a human being, right? If we have to stop our process to stop and interact with a human, we might have failed.
Yeah, it's fundamentally flawed.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think like to your questions before, and I totally agree with what Thru said on that. But I want to say that the most important thing for integrators, it's really not to see security as the silo anymore. That's the biggest issue, right? That like it was always like really so separated from the rest of the company.
Yes.
Like some physical security manager sitting in, and especially in the buildings, like sitting somewhere in the office without the windows with one computer, and there is like all these on-prem solutions, right? And they basically have nothing to say with others, and the only thing is like to pass the plastic credential to someone. I think this is the worst, right?
Yes.
I really need integrators and everyone to follow that vision that I said, that the access control system is the list of all people that are connected with the space. And if you think like that about it, it's of course then it opens many other doors.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
So talk us through some of the feature set and what the value add is for Sharry. Like, all right, I've got an access control system. Why do I need something else that sits on top of that?
Yeah. So again, like I need to talk in these two steps. So first step is that smart access platform, how we call it, and it enables you first to connect multiple access control systems together, because of course large organizations, they usually have more than one.
Yeah.
Like talking just about the landlord systems, right? And like so first is that like connect multiple access control systems. Second thing is like to bring multiple credential types that you need for your office, which means like physical badges, mobile badges, license plates, QR codes for visitors, like everything. So basically to put all of these things together and provide the interface which is simple and which is actually not only for security managers anymore. That's a big value that I think Sharry is bringing, that we really want office managers to be able to do all the daily operations like adding users, editing users, deleting users, and maybe assigning the access role. Like it should be done by people that don't need to be like experts in very comprehensive security systems, right? And like that, and they shouldn't know these like access levels terms, and like this because so we want to create the interface that really work for HR managers, office managers, so they are able. Okay, so Phil is joining the company, so we should like allow him to get to the office in London and to the office in New York. So yeah, and it should be like understandable for them.
Right. And regardless of which access control system you're connecting to. So it's a common user experience across multiple pieces of software.
Yeah, exactly. And also like it should be more open. That's another like important value, that like everyone can access it, like of course who is allowed to. So it's not just one physical security manager who is usually then bottleneck of all operations, right? But it can be like, for example, in the building, it can be each tenant. And then the second step is that we are really trying to get the most of it, like in connection with other solutions. So I like the example like that, for example, you can send any information, any news, any update to the people in your office at the moment when they enters the space. So when they tap their phone on the reader, at that moment they receive the information that the elevator doesn't work, for example, or that there is a party on the rooftop tonight. So that's a good example. Or other example is that that access moment, it's a great check-in for your reservations, right? If you have a reservation for the workstation, for the meeting room, or for the parking spot, like the fact that you enter the space is a check-in. So based on that, we can play with like canceling of the reservations when there is a no-show. And there are many other examples. So we are really trying like first to do this like smart access platform, really working for the client, and then adding these other stuff. Safety is a big thing now.
Sure.
Like all solutions that are around safety, like mastering, for example, a lot of things around.
Yeah.
It.
Just on those points, what's the most asked feature set or outcome you see, and is there a regional difference, right? So you guys are spread geographically these days, lots of projects all around the world. Is there a commonality, or is it really regional diverse from a feature set?
Yeah, I would say it's in the end quite similar because I think that like large enterprise clients and A-class building landlords, which are two groups of our clients today, they think quite similarly. But I think it's like. I believe that next to the smart access or like access solution, it's the most important is workplace management, right? Mm-hmm. So booking of the space. So you need to get to the space and then you need to manage that space that like who should be allowed to use it. And so I think that like everything with this connection with the workplace management, it's super important. And by workplace management, I mean also parking, because in the end parking it's also workplace management. So I think this is definitely like number one. And number two, I believe it's really safety, like the solutions around safety. It's I see it more and more now, and like it wasn't so much before, but now in last 2 years, I think it's getting more and more important.
So when you say safety, like the duty of care from a landlord to the tenant, as an example, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, for example, or like just informing about safety rules and as I said, like some security I'm safe button, let's say, confirm that you are safe. Like these things, I think are getting more and more important.
So lightning round time. First one is balancing the needs of landlords, integrators, and tenants. Which one's the most important?
Tenants.
The tenants. Yeah, I think that's directionally correct, right? Because ultimately they're the ones that are paying the rent.
Yes. Yes.
What is the most outdated idea in the security industry that needs to die?
I think that the visible badge and the key should be together. That it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're
going to get no argument here.
Yeah. That your visual ID and the key should be together. I think it's crazy. I think it was never smart.
Yeah. What's a technology outside of security that inspires your work?
So of course, like AI, right?
Sure.
We should use it in this discussion. But what technology?
It doesn't have to be technology either. It could be anything. What really inspires you outside of security and access control?
I think and it's not very original maybe, but I think really looking at what hotels are doing, it's really I've heard the idea that actually when you come to the lobby in the hotel, there is nice smell, there is music is playing, everything is really done for you to feel well, which is still not the case in many offices.
No. Far from it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
I like this.
It's funny you say that. Go to Vegas. We're in Vegas at least once or twice a year, and each casino smells different in the lobby. Yeah. And every now and again, I'll be at home and either my wife will light a candle or I'll go to a store and I'll smell and I'm like, oh, this is the Venetian. and there is something to your brain connecting smells and experiences together. So why couldn't you have that in the built environment, right? You walk into your office and oh, it smells like HID in here. Of course, it would have to smell good.
But that's an important point. I think hospitality is trying to nail that, right? You walk into a hotel foyer and, the rooms can be average overall, but that first impression of that grandiose experience when you walk into the foyer is critical, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I was recently at one of our clients, and they are using Sharry, but actually in very invisible way. But they are not sending guest passes even, because they want to have white glove approach to the people that are coming, because they are very important clients. But the client, he told me that all of them are looking at our system, so they know names of the people that are coming. So when I was sitting there in the meeting room and they brought us coffee, the guy who brought the coffee and who saw us first time, he knew our names and he said hey, this is espresso for Josef and this is latte for Andre, and so and I think this is what I really love. I really love this when we have clients that want to build exceptional experience based on the Sharry. And it can be in a very different way. But I really want to find these builders that want to create exceptional experience that is similar to what you can experience in the best hotels in the world.
Yeah.
And and I'm actually I think we are really like lucky that we have clients like that, and that's super inspiring.
What emerging technology are people underrating right now?
Underrating. Maybe mobile access.
That's fair. That's fair.
Great answer.
Yeah.
I can't necessarily disagree with you there.
Yeah.
There's so much value to it, and yet it's like pulling teeth sometimes.
Exactly. To be honest, we are in this, all of us, right, many years. And I remember that I already said a few times in the past that in 3 years, this is going to be total standard and no one will be using plastic anymore, because I think I like to say that now the enterprise, the organizations, they are behind the states that are using already IDs in the phones and behind the public transportation, right?
Yes.
So it's like, I think, yeah.
Yeah. But, and, Sarah, I was just going to ask you that, because you live in Brooklyn.
Yes.
We're in Manhattan. How many, did you use a Metro card to get here? Or did you tap your phone?
Tap my
phone.
phone.
When you went to Starbucks or whatever your preferred coffee distillery is, right? Yeah. Did you pay for it with cash or with a card or with your wallet?
With my wallet.
Yeah. This is the point. And we're going and we're having these sort of interaction points everywhere. It's phone, it's mobile first. And we get to the office building. It's like, oh, I got to hold on. Where's my card?
Yeah. I have to say that when I joined Sharry 2 years ago, up until that point, I didn't realize what all goes into having an organization use a wallet credential. And it was shocking to me because I came from environments where wallet was standard for everything, especially from the education space and, payments and things like that. And so I think in that way, the industry is a little bit behind, but, this is why we're here. And this is why we're doing the important work with our channel partners and with HID and with our clients to educate them. But it's not an easy journey, right? A lot, I think something that we didn't cover is the kind of cost of resources that go into upgrades of different systems to get there, right? Because everyone wants wallet. Everyone knows that it's a great solution. But, realistically, there are still some obstacles for a lot of clients that Sharry can't do anything about, HID can't do anything about, and maybe that's
well. And so, how do you advise those clients when they get to that point? Because this is a challenge, right? Yeah. We acknowledge we want to go to wallet, but I've got prox readers still on the wall. I've got antiquated technology and all this sort of stuff. So, how do you advise them to get to a wallet state, but not today?
I think that the first step for us is showing them and the decision makers that are ultimately going to make the decision, the technology first, right? And showing them through our showrooms, showing them, on their own buildings if they have a site that is ready, and then getting that internal buy-in. And, from there, we can see, okay, maybe there's a site where we can pilot this for you guys so that you can get more internal buy-in. Because it's ultimately, a question of what those decision makers are able to do with budgets and with those kinds of decisions. So really just trying out the technology, in my perspective, is the most valuable.
And I'm gonna double down on that, because I think that there is this misconception that it's like, all right, well, we want to go wallet or mobile just in general. We got to do all of it, and we got to do it right now. It's all we got to boil the ocean, or somebody said earlier, eat the whole elephant. It's like, no, pick a building or pick an office space and just do it there. The easiest one. That gets your executive buy-in. That gets the proof of concept done, and then you can start building from there.
And I do have to say that that's one amazing thing about Sharry, is that you can manage your plastic credentials, your BLE credentials, and your NFC credentials in one app, right? So we're not forcing our clients to make that transition straight away. Right. We're, again, kind of taking that consultative approach of what works for your organization, and rarely do we have an organization that goes, 100% we're going to go to mobile tomorrow, right? So we're trying to really facilitate that, step for them. And I think that's a big differentiator for Sharry. But you were going to add something to that.
No, and also I think for support the decision to go into the wallet, I think and that's what I think is all Sharry about, is that it brings much more value than just how people are getting to the office. That really like you will simplify the onboarding of your people much more, like that you will like, and you can connect it with all other stuff, and you can really create that that feeling of the special connection between people and the workplace, which is something different than connection to the company, I think. So I think like I want to explain, because as we were talking about, usually we talk to the security managers, but I'm always saying them like, hey, you will make happy also your HR manager, you will make happy your CEO for sure, your COO, your IT managers, because they can connect it with their like identity management tools like Okta or Entra. And so I think this is super important, like to explain to the clients that they can really like build that other stuff around that I was talking about. And
so this is the longest lightning round we've had so far. But that's good. That's
rolling
good.
thunderstorm.
Exactly. No. This is all great. So what emerging technology are people overrating right now? What's an overrated technology that you guys see?
I would say like, and this is interesting, like, and maybe controversial, specifically in security industry, I think that AI is actually not so important because like many people in the security industry are quite concerned about to put like, and we see it actually even at some RFPs that we are receiving, that they are asking like the big clients that are actually very innovative companies, they are asking, they want us to confirm that there is no AI
no AI
component in it, because they want to be sure that that's actually under control. So this is like, maybe this is not the good answer on your question, because I'm not saying that AI is overrated for sure, but I'm saying, which is like funny, that that it's not so helpful in the security industry, and I think it's already a few other people are talking on the topic. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
That is very interesting, and I'll be curious to see what the audience has to say about that, because there have been some other folks in your chair that have said it's the undervalued one. There's other folks that have said overrated or overvalued. But I think that's the most interesting take that we've heard thus far, is that there's actually security concern around AI as it pertains to security.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What's one word customers would use to describe your company today, and what do you hope that word will be in 5 years?
I would say today they would use the app for sure, which I don't like, because our customers can use us also without the app. So they say like the app with mobile credential. This is, I would say, what they would use today. Mainly. And in the future, in 5 years or maybe sooner, hopefully, I would like them to say that that we are a workplace platform that helps them to create better connection with their people.
I like that. What prediction would you like to make today that you'd go on record as saying, like, if in 5 years you turn around and say, you see, I said it here. What's the thing? Actually, I think you already said it, which is AI is overrated.
Okay, thank you for that.
Do you want to stick with that?
On the record.
I mean, in security.
Yes.
My prediction, I have to repeat it. I think that plastic badges, like as the main credential, will die. I'm totally fine with them, like today, but it's really like, I think that companies should realize that the physical badge to enter the office is going to be first the only physical things that people need to take when they are leaving their home, besides their phone, which I think it's a shame.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think the technology giants would actually be right there with you, because if you look at Apple and Google and all the effort that they're putting into their wallets, into the smart home standards, Matter and Thread, there's so much emphasis on doing more with your phone, and then we get to the office and it's like, well, not here.
In the entire fabric of society, but the office.
Yeah, exactly, which makes zero sense. And then last question. And this goes to both of you. What is your go-to productivity hack? Like if, I wanted to be more productive with my day, what are you guys doing with, are you using AI in any kind of way? Or like, is like what's the thing that you would say is like, I do this to make my life easier?
I would say I drink a lot of water.
Stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is huge.
You know, like for real though. No, I mean, I think that AI is super helpful for the type of work that we do, but I actually try to not be reliant on it.
Yeah.
Almost 0% of the time. Oftentimes I find that if I write something and I ask AI to give me a better version, it's a worse version, which may sound self-confident. But so I think that's what keeps me productive is actually not using AI and, maintaining
you don't have a two-stage process.
My brain power. Yeah, exactly.
Good old human power, brain
human
power.
intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think what's interesting for me is when I communicate with someone, especially over email, I can see within 2 seconds that email was written by AI.
Right. Yes.
And so it's a very interesting time.
It loses the human touch.
Exactly. And I think that for our industry, especially, we are built on relationships, right? We're in the security business. People need to trust us, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why it's important for me not to use AI.
I like that. And stay hydrated.
Yes, exactly.
Joseph?
One of the best advice I ever got is that the startups are all about brutal prioritization. That's how it was said to me, that you need to prioritize and I think this is the most important, and this is basically the only important thing, to be able to recognize what's important and what is not. And I quite struggle with that. I realize that, and I think this is what I need to work on, really to be able to put the focus on the things that are important. But it's tough, right? But I think this is super important.
Yeah, easier said than done. Yeah. And then I guess last one, you got a good magazine recommendation?
I have some special feeling for Monocle.
Okay.
Which was always one of the magazines that I really loved.
Fantastic. Joseph, Sarah, thank you so much for your time. And if you want to get connected with anybody from Sharry, I'll throw the links to their LinkedIn. Obviously, you can follow them on LinkedIn, sharry.tech, sharry.tech, to get to their website. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by HID Mobile Access, the most secure and convenient way to open doors with the device you already use every day. With HID, organizations get flexible, future-ready solutions that easily integrate into workplace and tenant experience apps, creating a seamless journey from street to suite. If you're ready to modernize your access control experience, try it for yourself. Sign up for a free trial at hidglobal.com/solutions and click on Mobile Access.